We're all under a great deal of pressure as far as time is concerned. Life is busy in the 21st century, and it seems sometimes as though we don't have enough time to do anything. And those things we do, we're constantly trying to race against ourselves, trying to beat ourselves, and we're never going to achieve the target. And so, in order to avoid that terrible, crushing sense of disappointment and wasted time and inefficiency, there are various approaches that we can have. You can make a to-do list, which most people do, lots of people do. You could have timetable targets, and you can have what I call the kitchen timer technique. Now, I'll deal with these in order. The to-do list is quite simple. You write down what you need to get done, and then you do it, and you tick it off as you go along. A lot of people actually add things to to-do lists that they have already done in order to have the satisfaction of ticking them off, and there's nothing actually wrong with doing that. The advantage of the to-do list is that it does give you a sense of achievement. The disadvantage is that the to-do list tends to never be completed because there are always more things to do. And so if you remember something, if you think, I need to go shopping on Wednesday, you add it to the list. Shopping, I need to get this and that and the other and cat food. Add it to the list. So the to-do list, it does give you a sense it gives you a sense of achievement when you tick things off, but it also gives you a sense of failure. It's constantly reinforcing the feelings that there is more and more to do and that it never gets completed. Okay, timetable targets. What you do is you decide what needs to be done. You set yourself a timetable. You assign, say, 20 minutes to achieving goal A, a couple of hours to achieving goal B. You might split that couple of hours over two different periods, in the morning and the afternoon, on a Monday and a Wednesday. And then you put into action. You follow the timetable, you make yourself these rules and you follow them. The advantage is that you know what you're doing and you know when you're doing it. The disadvantage is that it's not really a creative, it doesn't lead to creative and constructive free thought. And so certain kinds of activities that are the kind that, that are more artistic, more creative, scrub that word artistic, more creative and and freer, those targets, more difficult to fit into that restrictive timetabled technique. And the third one, which I favour, is the kitchen timer technique. Now what you do is you decide what you need to get done, and then you use one of these. Hopefully one that's egg-shaped, because I love egg-shaped timers. And what you do is you set it to 20 minutes. You put it down. There it is. Tick, 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 tick. I favour the mechanical over the digital. You've got that 20 minutes to spend focusing on your goal. So if it's reading a book, then you read for 20 minutes. It can be leisure time as well. If it's cooking a meal, cook for 20 minutes. Writing a letter or an email, you've got 20 minutes to do that. Tidying up, 20 minutes to do that. And so on and so forth. You get the drift. You've got that 20 minutes and then it goes off. You stop what you're doing, draw a line under it, go on, move on to the next thing. The advantage is that there is a tactile feel to it, because you are twisting and you've got that bell at the end, and you avoid boredom because you do flit from thing to thing, but you don't flit just when you feel like flitting. It's not a whimsical thing. It's something that you do according to a schedule that is set by a timer, 20 minutes. If 20 minutes doesn't suit you, then set it to something else. But you're not looking at spending 2 hours on any one thing, because that leads to boredom and wasted time, inefficiency. Obviously, the disadvantage of the kitchen timer technique is that you have to interrupt what you're doing, and often something doesn't get completed in 20 minutes. I think the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. So just to recap at the end of this, we've got the to-do lists, The advantages are that you got the sense of achievement, immediately gratifying, ticking that thing off. The disadvantage is that the to-do list grows constantly. Um, Secondly, you've got timetable targets. The advantage is that you know what you're doing and when you're doing it. The disadvantage is that it restricts you and that you don't necessarily, you can't decide before you start a task whether it will be completed in the time you've timetabled in. So it's got to be both flexible and inflexible. That's a disadvantage. And the kitchen time technique, the advantage is that you avoid boredom and getting stuck. And the disadvantage is that you do interrupt what you're doing. But I think the advantages of the kitchen time technique, because it is so tactile, so physical, and you're making your own rules and you're playing by your own rules, that's a major, major advantage. And I honestly think that it leads to achievement, which can only be a good thing.